Welcome back to another episode of Line Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Sky 2 Dotty, and today we're talking about the bondage breaker. But before we get into that, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Continue to share it, continue to like it, continue to do all the things necessary for this channel to grow. I do want to say, I do apologize about the little month, almost 2 month hiatus that I've been on. I've been distracted, but now I have been busy. So it's a difference. Distracted by what we're going to talk about in today's episode, but going from distraction to being busy now in this new season that God has put me in, and hopefully moving forward, there is no more distractions. It's just me being busy, and that will perhaps impede in me dropping videos, but um, hopefully not. I pray God allow me time to do more episodes like this and to really give Him the glory and to just really just help be helpful in today's society. But without further ado, let's explain today's title and what I mean by being distracted versus being busy. So, without further ado, let's talk about the bondage breaker. So, as you guys all know, I was a no, yeah, I was a delivery driver, and I've kind of mentioned that throughout a few episodes that I have posted on here. But I used to work for a logistics company. I'm not gonna say no names. Don't need to really give them no shine on this platform. But I will definitely um, give God glory for delivering me from that job. And with that being said, I used to work for a delivery service, and we partnered with Amazon. So I didn't technically work for Amazon, but you're gonna hear me mention that a lot through this video about Amazon's policies and just this, that, and third, and kind of show you how like the logistics company kind of filtered everything, and how the drivers were um, treated and how things kind of came into play. But um, as you guys know, prior to me working at Amazon, I worked at kind of like a RV slash light fixture place, and towards the end of that tenure there, applied to be a driver. This was during the peak time of Amazon, around Black Friday and this and third. So ended up leaving there because of prejudice, nepotism, monotony, all of those things at the light company. So went from the light company to Amazon. So when I got to Amazon, um, I'm a type of person based off of my experience with life and just experience with humanity. Um, I tend to analyze a little bit deeper than most people. I don't just see a smiling face and this, that, and third and say, oh, they're kind and they're nice and they have my best interests at heart. I'm no longer 16, 17, 18, or 19. Um, I don't necessarily view everybody as a threat, but prove me wrong, if that makes sense. And a threat varies. It's not just somebody holding a knife, not just somebody holding a gun. It could just be simple dialect. And if somebody slip up while um, anything, first time me meeting a person, or timing, or I'm deep when it comes to my energy, my time, my presence. I value that because money come and go, people come and go, but me, I'm one of one. And I don't want to ever put myself in a position to where that's being hindered or that's being ill-advised or that's being devalued, right? So I kind of had an inkling of what I was dealing with, like a tad bit. And sometimes also, not to kind of contradict myself, but I also have to give myself grace and give others grace too. Because, okay, first impressions, okay, cool, it's definitely everything, but maybe again, and it's a very short list of, well, not a short list, but like a short period of time where that grace runs out like a light, you know. But I give people the opportunity to prove me wrong, that they're not a threat. But again, that window closes very quickly, because if things are repetitive or things keep reoccurring, okay, this is what it is, versus me just saying like, oh well, they just having a bad day, or well, maybe this and the third. So when I first met the people I was who owned the business, it's husband wife, um and meeting the wife of this logistics company, um she's very um friendly at first, and naive, and very like perky, and very, just, the energy is very high, and you can sense a sense of naiveness, a sense of, just kind of like this, like kind of like her mind is a bit displaced with like running a business. And to kind of give you even more um background on this husband wife pairing, they're both service members. And with that being said, coming from just a ROTC level, not active duty, never been sworn in, none of that, but just being in a place and space with military people, that gave me a sense of like, okay, cool. This is going to be ran in a strategic way, very forward thinking, very forthcoming, very structured. And as I explained, this was never the case whatsoever. And you know, I meet the wife, and again, all the things I just said. And, she does HR and this and third. And at that time, I think the company was fairly new. It was probably like 5 or 6 months or so, that they've been a logistics company, and they came out of pocket. They started the business, this and third, right? So when I finally do meet the husband, the guy who actually owns like the logistics company, um, the energy, the vibe, the dialect kind of reminded me of a manager at FedEx. And this was years back. But one thing I can say for sure, I have met a lot of people, even if I only met them once. And with that being said, that means that even though you may not have never met who I have met, your character, your energy, your demeanor, how the way you carry yourself is eerily similar to somebody that you may have never even heard of, or may never hear or meet. So when you have certain tendencies that I can pick up quick, fast, and in a hurry on, I'm gonna kind of like, okay, kind of keep my eye on you, because um is again, I know I'm one on one, and whoever's watching this, you guys are one on one too. But and I pray that I meet somebody very, very similar to me. I have had some or have friends that's kind of close to me, but again, like through and through, like but I say that because it's just like it's funny how people have very eerily similar characteristics to people that they never even met. And I kind of find that kind of funny and kind of fascinating. But yeah, that was the energy that was picked up, very me, very I want to be seen. I want to be heard, versus letting the hard work, the dedication, and the things that you truly honor and you stand for be shown, not one of the key moments that kind of laid the foundation for my time there. I've probably been there maybe less than a month. Um, and we were in like we used to have like these team meetings, like called stand up, before we got our routes and stuff like that. So he was saying he was feeling some type of way about how, I guess, like rumors and things that were being said about him. And he was saying, like, I put people in hotels, and I did this, I did that, this and the third, right? And I know it's human nature to feel like somebody owe you, somebody needs to show you respect and this, that, and the third. But one thing that I'm going to really debunk and really call out in this video is um like being in certain positions and the expectation, right? And not to kind of get ahead of myself, but this is the like him revealing his heart posture off the rip. Anybody who feels the need to voice what they do for others in a group setting is not just mano y mano. It's about 20 to 25 people that work for you saying, in your you know displacing this, meaning like some people may be like, you know what, that guy is a good guy. He did this for this, that, and the third, and some people may hear it as, well, he'll help me out if I'm ever in trouble. I'm gonna use that to my uh, advantage. And me, I'm thinking like, whatever you do for others don't need to be like displayed in broadcast. That's not integrity. That's not having a good heart posture and really like understanding what it is to be a business owner and to be in leadership. Because you're gonna have days like that. You're gonna have moments like that where you may have it and you give it, or you may have it and choose not to give it. And both decisions come with what it come with. And with that being said, if you do anything for anybody, whether it's done in a I owe you way, which it shouldn't be, or um did it with integrity, you don't have to broadcast that. That's something that you and that other individual have to do, because you're forcing that, thinking like a motherfucker gonna feel sorry for you or feel like you're this and a third. And I'm just thinking like, okay, and like, what does that have to do with making the team better? Like, that has nothing to do with us. That's something that you and another adult, you know, had to, decide it. And if they ran off with your money, didn't say thank you, whatever the case may be, as you and another adult situation, a group of people don't need to know that, right? So this kind of laid the foundation on what to expect from these two individuals. Now to kind of go to the business and on pretty much a day in the life of a Amazon delivery driver at DI3. That's the base where I worked out. Shout out to those drivers who still shucking and driving um there in South Bend. But I'm gonna say this about that. Those who watch this video, who has worked with me, or those who watch this video at another station and this and third, verbatim what I'm about to tell you is down in there 1,000% accurate, 100% accurate, because is there certain things that logistic, like, and mind you, this is my first job I've ever like my full-time occupation, driving, right? And this speaks to just bondage. Everything that I'm about to say is bondage, because think about it in a sense of everything that I'm about to tell you, you're responsible for, not nobody else. You and you only, right? So let's just walk you through the life of a delivery driver at DI3, right? at least from my perspective. Somebody may not agree with everything, or maybe no, he's over exaggerating. No, okay. But without further ado, let's walk through a day in the life of a D3 driver at my logistics company. Other companies that work there, because again, we're third party. It's other DSPs outside of the one that I work for in the building. So from my perspective at my DSP, this was a day in the life. So when I first started, um, shout out to my boy D. Um, um, D used to open. He used to kind of have stand up and this, that, third. And when he was there, he made sure people had what they needed. He made sure that people got the same van throughout the whole week. I drove van 35 a lot. And what van 4, because that one was the speed cat one, and these were the fluid white vans. If you know what those are, you know. If not, Google fluid white vans. And at that time when I first started, we just had to use the Metrodon app on our work phone. So when you get your work bag, you have your phone, you have your charger brick, a charger for like the lighter port in like the van. You got your like your list. You got a pen, you got a highlighter to write on those boxes, and this and third if you choose to. But that's pretty much your standard route bag, and you may have inspection sheet throughout. Towards the end of my tenure there, we really didn't get too many inspection sheets. Like some bags had it, some bags didn't. But when my boy D worked there, he made sure everything was tip top to the best of his ability. But so you go to the desk, or if whether permitted, you was outside and you got they brought out the bags to you, this and third, in like a little wagon, and this and third, and um got your bag. They call out like your bag because your bag was your van, like had your van number on the outside of it, and they called out, hey Ray, and they gave you like your bag, you in van 35, right? So some of these vans, for the most part, are not well taken care of. Van 35 and van 4 kind of stand out to me because, again, I had them vans all the time, right? When we had the fluid white vans, I had those vans all the time, right? So let's just say I'm gonna go through a good day and then a bad day at Amazon. A good day looks like you got the van that you were normally driving, and you may have 7 bags, 5 overflow, or 5 bags, 10 overflow, right? The bags that I'm referring to are just the bags that is like what blue, yellow, green, black. So blue, yellow, green, black bags, and it's like a little, little totes. You can Google Amazon tote bags, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So you get that bag, and you could, and on that load list I just told you about, that got your like your route. So it say TX 73, and then it say STG. Let's just say GO1. So it'll have your station location when you log in on your work phone. You can pull that up on the Flex app, and this and third, and you will have where you need to go, where all your carts are positioned at, and this and third, and then you will go and load up like your van and this and third. So mind you, this is all done by yourself, from your vehicle inspection to making sure you got gas in like your van. You have like the van some days where it's on half. You have days where your air don't work, your heat don't work. You can only go. You gotta roll down the window to get out of your driver door. The sliding door don't work, or the door open chimes all the time, or then this is something else that happened towards the end of my tenure. If you're in the Benz marked van and you had to every time you made a stop and you put that bitch in park, you have to pull out the parking brake because Amazon wants you to always initiate your parking brake and always turn off your van. And as it, and especially in this season that we are in, where it's 80 to 90 plus, who the fuck finna turn off their van at each stop? Like that's not even plausible. And then the parking brake, I mean, again, if unless you're uphill or kind of on a slanted downhill, I can see that. But outside of that, because that's what parking brakes are for, and turning like your wheel to like but that's neither here nor there. Good day, kind of going back to a good day. So you will have a phone at work. You will have the van that you've been driving all day. You will have a shortened route, maybe in Granger, maybe in South Bend, maybe Granger Niles, maybe in an area that you are used to being in. Like I stay near like Bristol, the Bristol Elkhart, area. So I have had routes where I was in Bristol and Elkhart, right by like the crib. I have had routes from right by base while I'm in Granger, South Bend, or I'm strictly in Granger. Shout out to Granger. I used to love delivering in Granger. If you worked at DI3 and you're watching this video and you have delivered in Granger, you would echo those sentiments. Granger is by far the best place to deliver in Michiana, in my opinion, because you got a lot of cul-de-sacs, a lot of in, out, in, out, in, out. It's not taking you this way and that way. It's right there. Now is it some stops where it's just it's on like a busy thoroughfare like Great Road, for example, if or like a main street, yeah, of course. But for the most part, you're in subdivisions all day long, right? So um also to kind of speak on a good day, you have the shortened routes, you have a van that works, you have all of what you need, your phone, backup phone, charger, brick, all that. You also get help with loading up your van. You may have a driver that has an even shorter route than like you, and they help you load up your van and you in out. Some days you may not have it like that. Some days you may have 14 bags or 12 bags. And mind you, to kind of give you more insight again, you have to load all this shit up sometimes by yourself. And within these bags, these totes, you can have one pack. Literally, it's been totes where it has one packages in it, and your load list, like your route list, tell you what you have in like your bag. You have, does it say bag 001, and then it'll have it off to the side like 10 packages. Like it'll say 10, 15, 17, 20, 17. They give you the total in each bag. And sometimes that can be accurate going your way, meaning it's less than what it said, or it could be more. And that could be small boxes, or it could be nothing but envelopes. And now, I know I probably mentioned, or if I didn't mention, overflow. So it's what it sound like, stuff that don't over like flow within the bags. So it could be a vacuum cleaner, it could be a mini fridge, it could be a PS5, PS4, it could be anything like that don't fit it inside of the normal totes. So again, you may have one cart, you may have two carts. People may have four carts of shit that they have to load up. Some days with help, some days without help, and you have a very small set of time to where you have to load up and get off the launch pad. And they have something called yard marshals that's direct you and call up the other DSPs and this and third, but they don't really help you. Like they do every now and then, but it's not that's not their job. They just there to direct traffic for the most part. They're just glorified motherfucking crossing guards, but it's not necessarily like that's their job to help you. Even though if they did, it would be more efficient for everybody because it's just helpful because it's just helping your job and it's helping our job, and we're able to get going, and you able to bring up because the quicker you can get people parked, loaded up, and out, the better. You get to Jimmy flicking bullshit after that. But kind of continue the a day in a life. So um it's days where some of the bags may not even be picked up. Meaning like once you scan the QR code for like where like your carts are at, I have had it, and this every now and then. It's not something that happened a lot, but kind of to just um give you insight, even more insight. It was days where I had to pick up my route. I had to go to like the yard marshal desk, and they had to kind of reroute my whole route back into the system. It's weird. Or it may be days where I had a recycle route. Recycle routes was low key like the best time, especially when like my homie D worked there, because I have, let's say, 60 stops in South Bend, but I won't get my route into three. Oh, let me kind of map out the different the different cycles or shifts. But we had cycle when I very first started, and during peak season had cycle one. That's it. It was no cycle zero. Before I left, it was cycle zero and cycle one. Cycle one, again, this was when, you know, the best drivers that like we had while I was there worked there, and homie D used to open, and this and third shit kind of made a little bit more sense than what it did before I left. I should have probably led with this video. It's going to be long winded because I have a lot to get off my chest to kind of alleviate the demon, and leave this stuff in the past where it is currently, but to really close the door on this headspace. But yeah, when certain people work there, certain things flow a certain way. But yeah, cycle one, when I first started, we had to be there at 11:20, no later than 11:20. Cycle zero about 7:20 in the morning. So when I had the recycle routes, when I was doing cycle one, it was it was fun because like they could have you just like again 60 stops in South Bend. Like I don't think I did. I don't think I never did a recycle route in Granger. I don't think so. But man, I sure wish I could have had that opportunity. But they'll kind of see you like kind of off, like kind of not that far sometimes, but they kind of have you going 10 minutes that way. It's 10 minutes that way to kind of give you some some time. And like the recycle routes was kind of, you probably had like three totes. You probably had like literally like if you said 60 stops, you had 60 stops. Like, well, 60 stops were 60 packages. So, and it was numbered in order. So you would have package one, the driver A number was package one. In a normal route, you would have, let's say, 700, right? Let's use 700. You would have 700 through 709, and then you have 710 through 719, and then you have 720 through 729. Let's just say those were your three groups. And when I first started, I used to just grab a tote and kind of just sift through it and kind of figure it out then. But shout out to my boy Trevor. He rescued me, and rescue means if you're falling behind, somebody come in and grab a few stops off you. And I can remember being in Goshen, um, and he came and rescued me. And he said, "Yeah, man, I just got done doing 190 stops." And let me just kind of break down the math on this because this is really the business end as well, and what really dictates your day, right? So the fastest driver, um, and I'm thankful to have been whatever you know value that this has, one of the best drivers that that logistics company has seen. Not the best ever, but one of the best that they have ever had. Um, Anybody in my elk, we do 25 stops per hour. Maybe, and this is if we're in Granger, shout out Granger again, maybe 30 stops in an hour. And that's not every day. We're not doing 30 stops an hour every day. That's something that's if you're moving and grooving and everything is just flowing, But minimum 20 stops per hour. That's the minimum. And if you're doing anything less than that, you're fucked. Okay, so have that math in mind. 25 stops per hour, right? This man came and rescued me, said that he did 190 stops. Again, do the math, and you will see how long a route that's scheduled that you have 190 stops is, how long that takes you. That takes you all day. And that's contingency on if you have a lot of overflow. A lot of overflow means you have perhaps a lot of businesses for the most part. So with that being said, this man still knocked out 190 stops. Mind you, you can only do on a low end to keep pace 20. On a high end, 25. If you really grooving, 30 an hour. Again, this speaking to bondage because you couldn't take a break. You have if you have anything over 160, you really can't take no break. If you have anything less than you make it go to the bathroom, kind of you feel me, like type shit, maybe perhaps, but on some real shit, nah, you can't uh, take my 30. I'm like 20 ahead. I can nah, you can't. You can't because you could call and be like, hey, how far am I? And to be honest, that shit really don't mean nothing. You can be 60, 70 like ahead. And if you take a 30-minute break, you'll go from 70 probably down to about 10 ahead because everything is routed. Everything is scheduled. So if you're scheduled to be at stop 60 by 4 o'clock and you don't get there till 4:30, you're behind. It's only 30 minutes behind, but behind is just that behind, and you could have like that's like that stop that you going to could be 5 minutes away. So let's say you take your break from 3:55 to 4:25, right? And you scheduled to be there at 4:30, right? So let's just say you took your 30 and your next stop, even though it don't tell you this on your route when you're supposed to like the ETA for each stop. Only the dispatch list tells them that like the routes. So let's just say you get there at 4:31, 4:32, or even 4:35. You're behind still. You're behind still, and the system will score that as you are behind. But you then got to build back up momentum. And if you have eaten, you may have to go to the bathroom now, and you can't do that when you're doing that route because everything is scheduled. And mind you, you don't have no helper. You don't have somebody that's following you all day behind you. You don't have the opportunity or the privilege to bring it back if you don't feel like doing it. You only can bring back packages unless you run out of time. And I would get more into that, but I have again I started when I was in peak when they were in peak season, and this was Christmas time, and this and the third. It was snowing. It was real cold, and I feel like those were looking back at it were the best times because I didn't have nothing to really compare it to. I was learning how this job works and then paying my dues, So I didn't really have no earnest like how like I have or any feeling of bondage. The bondage really started when a little bit past peak season. And mind you, learned I, you know, I took my lumps was delivering in shitty weather and this that, and the third and learning how to stack, how to organize it in the groups and figure it out. So once I got past peak and once I figured that out, and this and the third, fast forward to when the bondage really became visible, but the bondage was there, but it wasn't visible until a little bit past peak, right? So a very good friend of mine that we became friends at while we were there. He got hired, right? And um he his very first day, again, shout out to my homie D, again, because when D used to work there, he used to have me training drivers, and I'm thankful that he gave me the ability to do so. And one of the drivers that I trained was a friend of mine. Shout out my homie Javon. And me sharing this story, my nigga, again, is not to put your business out or this and the third, bro. Is just showing how God works. Because, and once I get to the end of telling like this story and summarizing, like this whole episode, um, it's gonna make sense. No shape, way, or form, and I'm throwing you under the bus by saying your name. I'm giving God glory by telling like your story, and it's all love whatsoever. Not to throw out like your business whatsoever, but just to kind of add um more concept to the content and what I'm talking about, the bondage breaker. Um, so when my homie Devon got hired there, D told us to, like for me to train him how to, like the ropes and days where I had to train drivers. I really enjoyed those. Really, really, really enjoyed those, or days even riding along with a seasoned driver. I really enjoyed those days. Those probably the recycle routes and being a driver trainer, probably the two best moments at that job. Um, and my homie Javon, he was learning like the job still. He did the best like he could. Was he top five driver ever? No, but he showed up when he could, because everybody got different things that they battle with each and every day. He showed up the best like he could, but how they did him when some shit got real. Um, and the husband and the wife duo, the owners of this company, how they did him once something really hit the fan, is what I want to talk about. Because anybody that you put on your payroll and who you are giving half of your livelihood, stuff that you're generating, you're giving back to somebody for their time, because you're paying people for their time. You're not paying them for really like their labor, if you really think about it. Because if everything was piece rate, it'll be even worse. Um, um, well, to be honest, it'll probably be more balanced, but at the same time, not balanced. If that makes sense. If you're getting paid by the production of your work, you're getting paid by the hour. But that's neither here nor there. So my homie, again, this is speaking to heart posture, just speaking to just the discernment over this country. I mean, not this country, this company. So when you have a business, right? Before I kind of dive deep into it, I want to tie this all to this point. When you have a business of any kind, when you have a household that you run, when you have children, when you have vehicles, when you even back in biblical times or 100+ years or ago, when you had cattle, land, when you had just things that you are responsible for, you're supposed to have a certain this elk, a certain this way of just viewing what you have, because it's with great um things come great responsibility. And when you're a leader of something, when you're in charge of people, animals, or vehicles, this and third, your heart posture has to be in the right place, or things will fall apart because you're leaving this to happenstance, or You're just hoping for the best versus participating in the production, participating in what needs to be done, right? So with that being said, like I said, the vehicle maintenance on these vehicles, even if you do a pre-trip inspection, right? You could get out on your route, the brakes could go out, right? And again, it's not like you can say, hey, can I bring like the van back? These brakes are squeaking. No, finish like your route, or we'll send somebody eventually to come and help you out. You still have to do your route, despite of the fucking vehicle can catch on fire. Oh, put out the fire. We'll send out the tow truck, and they'll send a tow truck and send another van behind that. Like, bro, I just had to put out a whole man. I'm trying to go home, bro. Like, I did a day's of worth of work by putting out a whole fire that could have been prevented if leadership was actually leading or doing what they invested their time and their money into doing by running the company, not leaving it to the ops manager, not leaving it to the dispatch manager, not leaving it to the drivers, leaving it to what they signed up for. Because me being a DJ, I'm not gonna tap a bar patron and say, "Hey, can you watch like my stuff while I go to the bathroom?" And just hoping that they don't press nothing, they don't take nothing. Like, no, I'm gonna get either a bouncer or somebody who works at where I'm at and say, hey, can you? Because we're working together. But in this sense, when your name is on everything and people are representing your name, you can't do that. You can't leave stuff to happenstance. So I say that to say this: you give a driver a van that should have been not only expected by the driver, but expected by the ops manager, expected by the dispatch manager, expected by you, the business owner, before it gets on the road. And I get it. I get it. I understand it. You have a million and one things to do and this and third, and the weather's hot or is the weather's cold and the leaves are falling, the wind is winding and this and the third. However, when you invest money and time into anything, you have to make sure your the investment is making good. You have to be diligent and vigilant on what's going on. You cannot leave it to chance. You can't leave it in the hands of somebody whose name is not on this shit. Because you're leaving it a chance. And when you leave things to chance, it's a chance shit can go wrong. You know? In this sense, my homie Javon, I don't know if he did the pre-trip inspection. That's neither here nor there. But with that being said, he gets on his route. You can go 10 over the speed limit, whether you're in Michigan or you're still in Indiana, because we deliver because we're in northern Indiana, so we can deliver to like southern Michigan and northern part of Indiana. So with that being said, he was in Niles, Michigan. And he got pulled over for going 10 over the speed limit. And he got also hit with moving violations, the headlight out, not having insurance in the van. And you would think, okay, well, he got this all in a company van. The company could go and take care of that, right? Wrong. And again, anybody who's watching this and know the DSP I'm talking about, feel free to share this with the owners. And the only reason why I'm not saying their names, because again, wrongdoing don't get rewarded or praised on my platform. If I'm discussing any topic, it's to give God the glory and to give people insight and for people to be mindful. That's part of my walk. And if they see me on the street, because their numbers are definitely blocked. I don't want no insight, no none of that, no communication with demonic people, because that's what these people are. They may not know it, they may not even see it like that, but the things that they have done, especially in this situation, is very demonic, right? You would think I have a company. I have a company that operates with vehicles. And with that being said, I should have everything that I need to make sure that these drivers are safe and that they are comfortable with their job. Because if they're driving for 8 to 10 hours, I want to make sure that they're well taken care of, and all these vehicles are in tip top shape from braking and this and third and all of the things, all having insurance, having registration, having all the shit that can hurt my company, hurt my fucking pockets, and hurt these individuals that are drivers. You would think that would be the heart posture, right? You're wrong. They gave Javon a ticket for I think like $200 or something like that, right? Once his route ended, he gave it to dispatch. Said, "Hey, what's to this? What do I need to do? This, and third." Told him, "Don't worry about it." It took months. This happened in July of last year, of 2024. This was in July of 2024. So then a year ago. And he didn't speak to the owner, the husband, of you know, he didn't speak to the owner of the company until months later about it. And then this motherfucker got on the phone saying that oh, this happened in St. Joe County, right? No, this happened in Niles, Michigan, my guy. You feel me? Like just telling him asinine things that don't make sense. Telling him what happened. Oh, you was caught going through a construction site, right? Just pretty much playing in his face. And to kind of give more details to that, they were stringing him along because his license ended up getting suspended because they didn't do their part, and that's demonic. You're stringing this person along, saying that we're going to take care of it, knowing that you're never going to take care of it, playing in his face, saying that hey, this happened here, like trying to kind of cover like your ass, try to like get some information so that you can kind of spin it and make it make sense and make it seem like you know what you really the fuck don't know versus call, hey bro, what happened? Okay, all right, we're rest assured we're gonna get on top of this. Meet me at this time here, and we gonna get this taken care of. And like again, they didn't have him ride along with nobody and be a helper. They didn't have him do dispatch. They didn't cross train him at all. He didn't wreck no vehicle. He didn't fight a customer. He didn't steal shit. Shit that's warranted to pretty much get off boarded and terminated right then and there. He didn't do none of that. Literally had a van, and you can say, okay, well, he was speeding. The Amazon Flex app and the camera, if you're in a marked vehicle, because I don't think he was in a mark a marked vehicle. You know what he was? It allows you to go 10. So if you're in a 55, it allows you to go 65. If you go 66 or 67 for a minute or probably like 30 seconds to like a minute, they ding you for speeding, right? So with that being said, they just end up letting him go, paid him out for his PTO, didn't help him pay for the ticket. He had to pay it in segments. And that just shows how money hungry and how where your heart posture and where your the temple of what's really important to you lies. Like because that's a if the ticket was like 200, or even if it was 500, whatever the case it may be, that's quick. But people always want to vouch for people who are in positions of leadership, and sometimes that is warranted. Sometimes it's not, right? If you're vouching for somebody, it's like, man, their hands are completely tied. They're doing all that they possibly can um, with what they got because they're not turning a profit. They just started out and they literally are living in a hotel every day. They're not riding the best of cars. They're struggling. They just started this business. It's none of that. And I don't give a fuck about nothing that this couple got. But I promise you I don't, because I grew up having. And moving forward, God willing, God will provide anything that I deem is essential, like how he has been doing. But they got X amount of, they got about 3, 4 cars. They don't even live in Indiana. They live back in Chicago. They go back and forth. So clearly you have the means. This is what I'm saying. You have the means to take care of shit. If you're balling like that, you're able to pay all these car notes and this and third, and they spent X amount of years in a service, so they're getting a stipend. They're getting a pension from the government. They get discounted shit because they're service members. So you can't look at nobody in their face and be like, you can't cover a $200 ticket. That's part of your business. You cannot do that. You can't. You like, I don't care if it was 200, 500, whatever case may be. That's a write off. You feel me? Like that's money that should be allocated to. You feel me? That's like me saying like, if I got a gig in Detroit or even in Canada, right? I want them to pay for my passport, or I want them to pay for all of my gas to and from, as if I can't build that in to, like, you feel me, like me billing them. Or if I got it presented, okay, to book me is 1,000 and they give me my 1,000, but I'm saying, oh, you guys got to pay me for my gas to and from. No, bro, that's all part of doing business. If they already put down the 1,000, that's allocated in that 1,000 already. You can't, you feel me? Like, it don't make sense. It don't. So he ended up losing his job because of their malpractice, pretty much. Them just feeling like, man, fuck you, dude. Pretty much. And to this day, I still salute him, bro. I salute you for not taking matters into your own hands, not crashing out on somebody, whether it be them or somebody that's innocent in this whole thing, because it's just it's so motherfucking, the audacity of somebody to like play in somebody's face like that, because they don't value them, because their heart posture is like Pharaoh in Exodus. They're scared that they're gonna lose their business, or scared the thought of, the theology of what may happen. You know, like, it's crazy. Like, some so simplistic, that's built into what you signed up for. You just throw that to the wind. And I have heard people say, well, they have to pay 7,000 for somebody hitting like they cat. They have to pay this for this driver hitting like this and this and the third. And I even have heard the owner say, yeah, I had to pay this amount of money to get the vehicle. Bro, none of that fucking matters, bro. It don't matter. You signed the contract, my nigga. You signed the contract. You signed the contract. It don't matter. That's like me wanting to put hands on my wife for my wife being my wife. I know who the fuck I married. You feel me? Like, it don't make sense. And if it's really a pain in your ass, beat it. Beat it, Billy Jean. You feel me? Like, just beat it. If cut your losses, and all right, y'all. Hey, y'all got 2 weeks to figure it out. All right, okay. I can't. Hey. Like, and call it. That's cool. That's admirable. That's honorable, because you let it be known. Hey, bro, I can't. Hey, this shit not what I thought it was, gang. Hey, let me. You feel me? That's showing discernment. That's showing that you signed up for something that you didn't fully grasp the concept of. And this is not like having children. This is not like being married. This is not like moving from another state. This is starting a, a business. And if they didn't, and again, if they didn't have the means, or they didn't have the military background, I can see if they was eating oodles and noodles, or you seen them brushing their teeth in like their car and swigging. We like, if they really just, I'm talking about, was there every day, and like, then okay, it makes sense. But you living from a third person point of view, the life of pretty much not like, not no LeBron is lifestyle, but you doing okay. You feel me? And to make that even more fucked up, And same thing I'm gonna say with that I said to about the Javon situation. I'm gonna speak on what happened to like Mommy D. And again, bro, I'm gonna tie this all together at the end. Mommy D has more experience than anybody that our DSP has had. Has way more experience because mind you, they got started. This DSP got started in August of 2023. I got hired in think no like November of 2023, and then my homie D got probably like 6 7 years or or more of experience. Because he worked in Texas, he worked at our DSP. He's well seasoned, right? He worked at another DSP that was, I think, at a building too. So my point being, bro got value. Bro got fucking value. And um, there's no pretty much price tag on having insight that somebody that that has insight that you don't have, especially when you started out over their head. You're the owner versus them just doing like the circuit and just getting different styles from different DSPs and shit, right? So my homie was the I want to say the dispatch manager, and he found that he Indiana found a law, well, passed a law that he found, and it stated if you're on salary, you got to get paid more now, right? Starting in 2025, or and he brought that to their attention, and they played in his face. They were trying to have him sign NDA, putting him on like hourly, going from salary to hourly because they couldn't pay him more, versus saying we're gonna cut ties with you, or we're gonna take care of you, bro. Whatever that looks like, because your value here is more than what we can afford to pay you, but we're gonna take care of you. Going like whether that's you can take days off, but make sure that you're not doing it back to back to back to back like each and every week. You can take more days off than normal, or you can get gift cards, or you can get uh I can cash app you $200 extra at the back end or the front end of the month. Work with them. They didn't do none of that. They tried to fuck him over. And mind you, and he told me the motherfucker that owned the company was trying to gatekeep him. And you may be like, man, Ray, how you know all this is true, bro? How you because being around them and then being around them, being in D and Devon, spun had a lot of conversations with both of these gentlemen. And I know we are all men, meaning we can't lie. We're not God. God can't lie. But I know we all are men. We are all humans. We can lie and we will lie. But it makes sense. I have this discernment. I see it in real time. It's not like this happened years ago, or man, nah, that like I have nothing to tie this to. Like to X them out because I have had my personal experience with these people where if I take time off, they're pissed about that, or they tell me as it's happening, or I try to do like this and a third, and like they're like playing me in like my face. Like it's just like I like their character, even in like my sense. Um we had gas cards. We had changed gas cards, and they didn't tell nobody that you had to be at the pump to use it. I'm inside, you feel me, trying to figure this shit out. Dispatch don't know, nobody know. But soon as I paid for gas because I was sitting there and the fucking van locked, like the key got locked in the van, and I called the owner. He said, "Oh yeah, man, you got to be about to." You would think you would let motherfuckers know that, right? Nah, you just going. It's just shit like that that speaks to that adds the context to what I'm talking about, because um why would you play in his face like that? Why would you disrespect that man and gatekeep him? Because Mommy D wanted to own a DSP himself. You feel me? So is this shit like that? That's like the shady, just bullshit like that. That is just awful, And my boy had got D had got sick. You know, it wasn't COVID, but it was something like similar, and they wasn't trying to work with him. They was just just fucking him over. You feel me? And like they never said anything about him leaving. They didn't say nothing in the chat. They didn't say nothing in person. They just as if he just don't matter, which is fine because you know let's go to the positives, right? Let's just show you how God don't end on a negative and how he is the bondage breaker. I'm gonna tie all three of what I experienced, what D and what Javon experienced, all into how God don't end on a negative and how God is the bondage breaker, the ultimate bondage breaker, right? So um let's tie into my homie Javon. Let's go back to his story, right? And I don't not to contradict myself or not to um give myself praise, but I'm about to say I don't give myself praise at all through what I'm about to say. All glory to God. I'm gonna give you that disclaimer because I know what I'm about to say. Oh man, you just contradicting like yourself. I guarantee you the difference between the owner of this company and me. I know how to give God praise because without God, I'm nothing, and all good works are done for Him, and I don't have to beat my chest about it. But I'm bragging about God. I'm not bragging about self. What I'm about to say, it's a complete difference. I'm giving God glory at this time. So when Javon got fired and I found that out, that that pissed me off. I was I was I was just like my man was blown. I felt for like my boy because he has a child and he was figuring out how to get back and forth to work because he didn't have no like no vehicle at the time and he had a lot going on. But this is how God used me. Whenever I was door dashing, if I got off work or if I had some time to myself, I used to go in and pick him up, and we became even closer. He became my best friend, and again, I'm not bragging about I'm doing a good deed about myself. I'm just showing you how God used me, and like I'm not gonna go into complete details about everything that we talked about, but he revealed to me, man, like I appreciate everything that you been doing for me, and this and third, and like I know what it's like to be forgotten. I know what it's like to be off to the side and just watching shit take place and you not being properly informed or properly of the knowledge of how can you help yourself, because nobody needs to be dicked around like that or just led astray or given a false sense of security of something's going to happen knowing that they have no plans of it's happening. But how God don't end on a negative for Javon, he ended up getting he was unemployed for a period of time, but he ended up getting a job again at FedEx, and he's able to, you know, be 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 in a better headspace. Because any man that's a real man, not having money, and you have responsibilities, real life responsibilities, and not having money, ain't no words to describe that. And I hated that for him. I really did because somebody that could care less is raking in money. Their business is turning profit, and this man can't find employment off of your wrongdoing, off of you not doing what you're supposed to do as a business and not being in the place of space to help this person. I'm not saying read him a bedtime story, pick him out clothes, wipe his ass. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is do right within the confines of why you hired this person to, do do this job, and you didn't. And but again, God don't end on negative, and God would create refuge for people who have been displaced or been done wrong, And then even with my homie D, once he left, that man got engaged. His soon to be wife held him down when he was sick and when he was struggling. She held him down because my boy got 3 kids, and he been through what he been through. But she held him down, made sure bills paid. Shout out to her. I cannot wait to meet you. But God didn't end on a negative, even when somebody was being negative to them. And I'm grateful to call them friends, for real. How he broke their bondage and allowed them to be in a place of space to bring in income and to bring in um and being okay despite of being done wrong. And even with like me, I was there for what a year and what, like, let's say like a year and like 9 months, a year and 10 months. And um all everything I just said, um it weighed heavy on me. This podcast was birthed because of being upset about my current occupation, being upset with I got more money than I do money. And a lot of what I've been through this past year stemmed from just the enormous amount of pressure that I had upon myself with just being able to provide and what's being provided to me so that I can provide to me and mine, and just the shortness of just my temperament because of how I was being mistreated at this job. And people may chalk this up, or that's just, oh, you chose this job, or this is how things are. Quit crying and this and that, third. And I said this a while back on here. We normalize shit that's not normal. Us as human beings, we have a lot of things that we need to address day in, day out, not just in general, but just day in, day out. From having purpose, having happiness, having food, water, shelter. These are daily needs, basically human needs. And if you put anything under pressure for a long period of time, if it's not done in a proper context to make you better, being forged by the hand of man versus being forged by the hand of God is two different things. Because I was not looking at it as I'm gonna own this company one day. Oh, he did that to Javon. He's not gonna do that to me. Or they did that to D. They're not gonna do that to me because I'm such a good driver. I'm such a good worker. How I'm knocking out X amount of stops, and I was driver of the year back in August of 2024. They would never. And I got this metric, I got that. No, they could no, they no, they would never. I'm not thinking in the mindset of man is gonna deliver me out of this uncomfortable state of being, or I'm just so oblivious and thinking that this is just how things are, because not only is a bondage only physically, is around my ass, it's around my mind, it's around my spirit. I have discernment, and I'm grateful to the Most High for that. And with that being said, it's just like when it comes to like me, um, again, like having to load up the vans by myself most days, to organize my van by myself, to even if I didn't have no signal on my work phone, trying to log into the work phone like multiple times, log into my phone multiple times, dealing with vans that had horrible brakes. It was times where I had a van so bad that I had to, or and mind you, I still completed, glory to God for this. I still completed this route. Had the brake, I had to put it all the way down to the ground. And still, Finished the route. Glory to God. Still finished, man. What like these are all the things that you have to do day in, day out. That people this oh man shit. Like nah, cause like it's just like you're a living being. Anything that's living like can get cluttered or any space and place can get cluttered. And when it's your daily bread of bullshit that you gotta deal with day in, day out with humanity, yes, your spirit gets anchored. And I didn't really know how much pressure this job and how much anxiety and how much just this association and how much of a distraction this job was into my last two days there. I know I've been long winded, and if you made it this far, salute you because I really want to get this all out. And I know I've been talking in circles somewhat, but I really want to get this all out. My last 2 days there was by far my best days there because I knew the end was near for one, and then two, I didn't have no pressure. I didn't have no, you feel me? I didn't have no wait. I got to finish this route, or if I go over 10 hours, they're not gonna pay me, or I got to get gas, or I because it's it's gone. It's gone. The pressure's gone. The that weight is gone. I got two routes left, right? I got two routes left. That's it. And then let me just tell you how much God was in the midst of my life during that whole tenure of me being there. When I first started there, like I said at the top of this, was leaving a company that was self-serving and had just was just nepotism, all of the things, right? And to get fooled into thinking that all things are going to be different on, this and that third, or maybe I was giving myself that false sense of security because I wanted so bad to just be done. But God don't end on a negative nowhere with me, and I'm grateful that He got His hands on me day in day out because I'm not worthy of that. I'm not. I was at one point in my younger age, I was rebellious, and I have talked about that on here, against God's will over my life and what He had set aside for me. But that last day at Amazon working for that logistics company, anybody who questions God's presence, who question if God is real, if this is all real, why does this happen? If why does this happen and that happen? And if God was so good, why is this and third? Right? I hope this story helps you really have discernment and really leads you back to the Most High. God loved the number seven. A lot of things, a lot of His works He have done in seven. Right? 7 days. He made everything that we see today. And my last day at Amazon, right? Get there, get my route sheet. My route sheet said 7 bags, 8 overflow, spot G07, right? When I log into my Flex app, 1 overflow has left. And that's typical. That happens, right? Had 7 bags, 7 overflow, and spot G07. Crazy. Crazy. For my last day of all days, my last day, I'm telling you, and I could be very wrong, but I highly doubt that has ever happened. Because I took a picture of that. when I seen that, because of all the days, you give me the number of completion when it's all said and done. When I made up my mind, I didn't moved on. Give me 777. My God, I should have played the lottery that day, but my heart posture not put, pos, positioned as money is my temple. Part of the necessity of living, but it's not where my heart lies. Hence why I am who I am, and God has given me this task. But um, to just really just wrap this all up, God don't end on a negative. And if you trust Him, He will break your bondage. It may be somebody who has watched this entire video, and you may be a family member, you may be a friend, you may be a friend of a friend, you may just be somebody who's bored on YouTube across the globe that stumbled across this. But I want you to know that there is a God. He's very mighty. He's very loving. He's very protective over his children. He's very protective over what he has spoken over your life. And I'm living proof of that. Other people are living proof of that. Um, Whatever the devil try to use others, because that's the only thing the devil can do. He can misuse you, and he can distract you from what's been spoken over your life. But arm yourself with the word of God. Arm yourself with good people. Lament to God. Break down. Be vulnerable, because when you're the weakest, it's when God gonna show up and show out. Because He care about His children. That He do. He's a caring God. He's a God that's merciful, that's graceful, that gives when we don't deserve it. People who are just running the world into the ground, He still loves them. And us righteous people, us Christians, can't really fathom that sometimes, because we think that we're the only, like we're special, and things have not been done in a sense for us to be forgiven. Because even Aaron, his sons passed, and were killed because they didn't do what they were told to do when in the temple, when they was in the presence of God. You know, so even though you have the good the a good heart and good intentions, you still have to do certain things a certain way. And God paid that price. And I'm thankful that He paid that price, because that's something that nobody living can front that bill on. So I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for my bondage to have been broken. And I could have made this video and just been dissing and name dropping these people and this and that third, because I still want to see y'all win. Because everything with me is blessed. I promise you it is. One monkey can't stop no show. And whatever you may feel that somebody sent you this video and you feel some type of way, you have my address. If or you have a way to get a message to me. And again, I don't want no parts of you. Not in a fear tactic, but in a way that I have no means of, or no intentions of trying to do business or to do anything with you guys. But if you want to have a conversation about this video, I'm more than welcome. I'm open. I'm open to that. If you want to contradict anything that I'm saying, feel free. You can comment on this video. But you and I know what's going on. And I pray that somebody do send you this video, you fix something within you, because you guys are much older. You down in my parents' age, if not younger. But you have the wherewithal, you have the activities of your limbs, you have the the mindset to like change that. That's only if you choose to. That's something else that I love about God. He don't make you do anything, but he gives you the right way of doing things, and you decide if you want to make the wrong decision on what's right. So you use that with what you may, but um God is real, y'all. God is real, and He's the ultimate bondage breaker. And it may be somebody who's in bondage right now, whether that be a marriage or whether that be a relationship in general, friendship, work. Um, Rely on Him. Don't rely on your mom, your dad, your spouse, your brother, your sister, your pet dog, your pet cat. Trust on God. Read the Bible. I'm not gonna tell you how to read it, but read it, digest it, breathe it, be kind. A lot of people have said this numerous times, last day of time, last day of time, last day of time. You never know. Nobody knows the day nor hour, but get right. I advise you wholeheartedly to get right. So I'm glad to be back on my platform. I'm looking forward to many more videos like this, and I have a few videos in mind moving forward that I want to talk about, different topics that I want to discuss. But y'all be blessed. Y'all stay warm. I mean, y'all stay cool in this very hot heat that we're in enduring. But I hope something was said, something was gotten from today's episode, and hopefully I'm not having gaps within my videos like I had before. But I love y'all. It's nothing but love. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, this is DJ Sky 2 Dotty signing off. Peace.